The night was colder than usual. A strange wind blew over the empty metal outpost, carrying a deep humming sound that seemed to come from under the planet's surface. Ethan Walker, a young human explorer, slowly walked through the ruined station with a small flashlight in his hand. He had been on this planet for only 3 days, but every night he heard the same sound, a low vibration, soft but disturbing. Tonight, however, the sound felt closer. Like something was waking up. He stopped when he reached the half-broken bridge that connected the outpost to the rocky valley. His flashlight flickered for a moment, and the air around him grew heavier. The metal under his boots creaked softly. Then he saw her. A small figure stood at the center of the bridge. A girl, human-shaped, but not human. She had long silver hair that moved with the wind, and her eyes glowed faint blue like soft lights. Inside a crystal. Her small shoulders were shaking, and her hands were locked together, nervously. It was the same shy alien girl he had seen earlier that morning hiding behind a wall. She never spoke, never came close. She only watched him from far away, like someone who was scared of even her own shadow. But now, she was waiting for him. Ethan raised his hand slowly. "It's okay," he said softly. "I remember you. You can talk to me if you want." She didn't answer. She didn't even move. Ethan took one careful step forward. "It's all right," he tried again. "I won't hurt." Suddenly she lifted her head. Her glowing eyes locked onto his, not shy anymore, but sharp, direct. Fierce, her voice came. Out clear, steady, and shockingly firm. "This is your last chance, human." Ethan froze in place. Her voice didn't match her appearance. It wasn't weak or scared. It was like a final warning, calm, heavy, and full of hidden danger. Before Ethan could ask anything, she continued, "Do it now or never." The wind stopped. The air felt like stone. Ethan's heartbeat echoed in his chest. "Do what?" he asked. "What are you talking about?" The girl's voice shook now. The confidence she had showed for 2 seconds began to fade, and her hands trembled again. She looked down, then back at him, like she was fighting herself to speak. "Please," she whispered. "You don't have time. You must trust me." A deep rumble rolled under the bridge. The metal shook. Dust fell from the broken beams. Ethan looked around in panic. What was that? The shy girl stepped closer, something she had never dared. Before, she reached out her small hand and grabbed his wrist. Her touch was cold, colder than the night, but her grip was surprisingly strong. "Come," she said quietly. "You must move now." Ethan stared at her in confusion. He didn't understand her words, but something in her eyes, fear mixed with desperate courage, told him she wasn't lying. Another rumble. This time louder. The ground beneath the valley cracked open, glowing with a dim orange light. The bridge shook again, harder than before, and the metal groaned like it might snap any second. Ethan shouted, "Is something under us?" The girl only nodded fast and pulled him forward. "We must go." "They are coming." "Who?" He almost yelled, but the girl didn't answer. She only pulled him with all her strength, trying to get him off the bridge. Behind them, the crack in the valley widened. Something moved inside it, long, black, and sharp. Ethan's breath caught in his throat as a giant metallic claw rose from the glowing crack. It scraped against the side of the cliff, sending sparks everywhere. "Oh, God," Ethan whispered. "What is that?" The shy alien girl looked over her shoulder. Her voice finally broke. "It found us," she said. "Run." She tried running, but Ethan didn't move. His legs were frozen in fear. So she turned back, grabbed both his hands, and pulled hard, harder than any normal girl her size should be able to. "Human," she shouted, her voice full of fear and frustration. "This is your last chance." The claw smashed into the bridge behind them. Metal exploded into pieces. Fire and dust shot into the air. Ethan stumbled forward, finally moving. The girl dragged him off the bridge, just seconds before the entire center section collapsed into the glowing crack. They fell onto the rocky ground. Breathing heavily, Ethan looked at her, shocked and terrified. "What is going on? Why are they after us?" "Why me?" The girl looked away, hugging herself. Her voice was soft again, shy, trembling. "Because you are the only one left who can stop them." Ethan stared at her in disbelief. Her eyes lifted, slowly glowing in the dark. "And if you don't act now," she whispered, "everything will be lost." The ground shook again. A second claw rose from the crack. The girl grabbed Ethan's arm. "Please," she whispered desperately. "You must choose. Run now or die here." And with that final warning, the real story began. Ethan's legs were still shaking as he tried to stand. The fallen bridge burned behind him, pieces of red-hot metal lying in the valley like scattered bones. The ground continued to rumble softly under his feet, as if the creature below was still moving. Still searching, the shy alien girl didn't look at the destruction. She only looked at Ethan. "Are you hurt?" she whispered. Her voice was soft again, almost too soft for the violet night around them. Ethan shook his head slowly, still shocked by what he had just seen. "I'm fine," he said. "But you need to tell me what is happening." The girl didn't answer. Instead, she pulled him toward a narrow passage between two jagged rocks. Ethan hesitated, but she tugged his hand again, not aggressively, but with urgency. "Come," she whispered. "They listen to sound. We must hide." Ethan followed her into the rocky passage. The walls were tight, as if nature had squeezed them together on purpose. The shy girl pressed her small hand against the stone and closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed. Ethan watched her carefully. "What are you doing?" She didn't open her eyes. "I'm sending a signal." "A signal? To who?" She didn't answer, not yet. Her glowing eyes remained shut, and her fingers gently tapped the stone in a strange rhythm. Tap, tap, tap. Ethan frowned. It wasn't random. It was a pattern. Like communication. Then, a soft blue pulse spread across the rock, as if the stone itself was waking up. Ethan stepped back. "Whoa, what is that?" The girl opened her eyes finally. Her face looked even paler now. "It is a warning," she said quietly. "To my people, to run." Ethan swallowed hard. "Your people? Wait, they're nearby?" The girl nodded slowly. "They are hiding underground, waiting for night to pass. But now," her voice cracked, "now the hunters have found this place." Ethan leaned against the wall, trying to process everything. "So you've been watching me since I arrived?" "Why?" he asked. She looked down, twisting her fingers nervously. "I didn't want to, but I had to." "But why me?" Ethan asked again. "I'm nobody. I'm just an explorer doing survey work." Her eyes lifted just a little, meeting his for a second before she looked away again. "You are not nobody." Her voice trembled. "You are the only human who refused the deal." Ethan blinked. "What deal?" She hugged her arms around herself. "The hunters made an offer to the humans. In exchange for leaving this planet, they wanted all of us." "My people," she shivered. "Most humans agreed." Ethan felt his blood run cold. "Most humans agreed? And you," she continued softly, "were the only human who said no. The only one who said we should not be hunted." Her breathing grew shaky. "The hunters heard about your answer. And that is why they watch you now." Ethan stepped back in disbelief. "Wait. So the creature under the ground, it is not alone," she whispered, her voice barely present. "There are many." Ethan felt a chill run through him. He looked at the girl again. "You said they listened to sound. That's why you stay quiet?" She nodded. "I was born with a weak voice," she admitted shyly. "My people call me Whisper. I am not strong like the others." She looked away, ashamed. "But I can hear things they cannot. The hunters' movements. They're breathing. They're signals through the ground. So that's why you were hiding earlier, Ethan asked. Watching me? Whisper nodded slowly. I wanted to warn you. But I was too scared to talk. Her hands shook slightly. I am still scared. Ethan softened. You still warned me when it mattered. She swallowed hard. Because tonight, the hunters have changed their plan, Whisper said, her eyes darkening. They no longer want only my people. Ethan felt his chest tighten. Then what do they want? She looked directly at him now, for the first time without looking away. You. She whispered. The narrow passage grew darker as Ethan and Whisper walked deeper into the rocky corridor. The glowing blue light on the stone, the signal Whisper had sent, slowly faded behind them. Only the distant rumbling of the hunters remained, echoing. Like slow thunder beneath the ground, Ethan tried to keep his voice low. Why do they want me? He whispered. Whisper didn't answer at first. Her small steps were careful, almost silent. Her silver hair brushed softly against the rock walls. As she walked, finally she spoke. Because you broke their rule. Her voice was soft, trembling, but clear. Ethan frowned. What rule? The rule of silence. Ethan stopped walking. What? Whisper turned to him slowly, her glowing eyes reflecting the dim light. She hugged her arms around herself, as if protecting her own fear. The hunters do not allow anyone to disagree with them, she said. Not humans, not my people, no one. Ethan's stomach tightened. So because I said no to their deal, they want me dead? Whisper shook her head lightly. Not dead, she whispered. Captured. Ethan went cold. Whisper continued. They want your voice. My voice? Ethan repeated, confused. Why? I'm just a survey worker. Whisper stepped closer, her eyes filled with fear. No, she said. You are a human with a brave voice. A voice that said something different, something they did not expect. Ethan stared at her. Whisper lowered her head. My people call. Your kind sound changers. Humans can change the direction of fate with only a few words. She swallowed nervously. The hunters fear that power. They fear what your voice can inspire. Ethan didn't know what to say. He sat on a flat rock, rubbing his face with both hands. So let me understand, he whispered. Because I said one sentence, one simple sentence. They want to hunt me across the planet? Whisper nodded. That sentence was not simple for them, she said softly. It was dangerous. Ethan looked up sharply. What exactly did the hunters hear me say? Whisper hesitated. She took a deep breath, her hands shaking slightly. You said, we cannot hand over innocent lives. Ethan blinked. That's it. That's all I said. Whisper nodded again. For them that was enough, she said. Because it was the first time a human refused their demand. The first time someone said the lives of my people matter. Her voice cracked. No one has ever defended us before. Ethan felt a sudden heaviness in his chest. He didn't remember saying those words boldly. He had said them quietly, almost casually, during a small meeting. But Whisper was right. Most people in that room had agreed with the hunters. Ethan had been the only one who refused. Whisper looked down, avoiding his eyes. You gave hope to my people, she whispered. Even if you did not mean to. Ethan swallowed. But why were you watching me? You didn't even know me. Finally, Whisper's shyness returned fully. She held her fingers tightly together, her voice dropping to a near whisper. I wanted to understand the human who spoke for us, she admitted. I wanted to see if you were brave or careless. She looked up with trembling eyes. But when I saw you walking alone on the bridge today, I realized something. What did you realize? Ethan asked quietly. Whisper stepped closer, her voice trembling with fear and truth. You were being hunted, and you didn't even know. Ethan felt the blood drain from his face. She continued. The hunters chose tonight to capture you because the valley is weak, the ground thin. And because I was near you. Ethan's eyes widened. Because of you? Whisper nodded slowly. They know I am the only one who hears their movements. The only one who can warn my people. Her voice grew smaller. They want to silence me. And they want to break you. Ethan stood up, stepping closer. So what do we do now? Whisper looked at him with eyes full of fear. But also something new. A small spark of trust. We find the truth, she whispered. And then we fight back. The rocky tunnel opened into a small hidden cave. A pale blue glow came from the ceiling crystals, lighting the space softly. It was quiet, too. Quiet, like the world outside had stopped breathing. Whisper carefully checked the entrance, her ears tuned to every vibration. Ethan watched her silently, amazed at how her shy nature changed whenever danger was close. Her fear didn't disappear. It just transformed into focus. It is safe for now, she whispered. Ethan sat against the wall, trying to steady his breathing. His heart was still racing from the near-death escape on the bridge. Whisper, he said quietly, you told me the hunters are not working alone. Someone is helping them. Someone human. She looked away, her fingers tightening. Yes, she said softly. They have a guide. A human who knows your movements. Someone who gives them information. Ethan felt a sharp pain in his stomach. Human traitor, he muttered. Whisper nodded. Ethan rubbed his forehead. But why would a human help them? What do the hunters even offer? Whisper stepped closer, sitting beside him with a shy distance. They offer protection, she whispered. Power. Access to their technology. Some humans believe the hunters will rule this planet soon. Those humans think joining them will save their own lives. Ethan clenched his jaw. That's disgusting. Whisper lowered her head. My people suffered because of such humans before, she said. But this time, the guide is someone close to you. Ethan stiffened. Whisper, he said slowly. Who is it? She didn't speak. Instead, she lifted her hand and pointed to Ethan's backpack lying near the cave wall. Check the communicator, she whispered. Confused, Ethan pulled out his small black device. It had been off all day to avoid interference with the planet's storms. He turned it on. A red blinking symbol appeared instantly. Live tracking signal ACV. Ethan's eyes widened. What? I didn't activate tracking. Whisper nodded sadly. It was not you, she said. Someone remotely forced your device to send your location. Ethan's voice cracked. But who? Before he could finish, Whisper gently took the communicator from his hand. She pressed her glowing fingertips against the screen. A hidden message appeared. A name. Ethan's stomach dropped. LT, Ryan Holley, Human Security, DIV. Ethan stared in disbelief. No way. Ryan is my team leader. He trained me. He helped me get this job. Whisper's eyes softened with empathy. He is the one, she said softly. The hunters speak about him. They call him the voice breaker. He convinces humans to agree with the hunters. And he punishes the ones who don't. Ethan felt anger rising in his chest. So he betrayed my team. Betrayed me. Whisper nodded slowly. And he wants to capture you alive. The hunters promised him command of this region if he succeeds. Ethan clenched his fists. All this time, he thought someone was watching him, following him. But he never imagined it was someone he trusted. He looked up sharply as Whisper suddenly leaned toward the cave entrance. She pressed her ear to the stone again. What is it? Ethan whispered. Her eyes widened. They are close, she said. Her voice shaking. More than one. They move fast. Ethan grabbed his pack and stood beside her. They're coming for me? Whisper shook her head. For both of us. Ethan exhaled, fear and determination mixing in his eyes. So Ryan sent them? Yes, Whisper whispered. He wants to prove loyalty to the hunters, and he knows I am helping you. Ethan looked at the cave walls, trying to find another exit. What do we do now? Whisper moved closer, her glowing eyes reflecting the blue cave crystals. There's only one way, she said quietly. We must reach my people before Ryan reaches us. And the hunters? Whisper swallowed hard. They will follow. They never stop. Ethan took a deep breath. Then we run. Whisper nodded. And for the first time, she took his hand not out of fear, but because she trusted him. The cave fell silent again, but this silence was different, heavier, colder, like a warning hanging in the air. The hunters' distant rumbling had stopped completely, and that scared Whisper more than when they were moving. When they stop, she whispered, "It means they are listening." Ethan froze. Listening for what? For us. Her voice was faint. Whisper tugged his hand and guided him toward a narrow tunnel on the right side of the cave. The ceiling was low, and Ethan had to crouch to fit. Whisper moved with practiced ease, her steps light and careful. She didn't speak for several minutes, and Ethan could tell her mind was racing. Finally, they reached a small underground chamber, a hidden room carved into smooth stone. There were markings on the walls, glowing faintly in turquoise blue. Ethan touched one. "What are these?" Whisper inhaled slowly. "My people's history." Ethan traced a symbol shaped like a rising sun. "It's beautiful," Whisper's voice cracked. "It is almost gone." Ethan looked at her. "Whisper, what aren't you telling me?" She avoided his eyes, backing up until her shoulders touched the wall. Her fingers twisted nervously in front of her chest. "There's something you must know," she whispered. "Something I didn't want to tell you." Ethan approached carefully. "You can tell me anything." Whisper closed her glowing eyes for a moment. "My people did not always hide underground. We used to live on the surface. We used to sing. And our voices gave life to the world." Ethan's breath caught. "Your voices?" Whisper nodded. "Yes, sound gives us energy. It connects us. But one day, the hunters came. They hate sound. They hate anything that gives life." She swallowed painfully. "So they hunted us. My people fought for many years, but we were not strong enough." Her voice trembled. "So we hid. And we stayed silent, for generations." Ethan felt a coldness inside his chest, and now? Whisper looked up at him, shy, scared, but honest. "Now you understand why your words scared them," she said. "Because humans are loud. Humans speak without fear. Humans change things." Ethan understood. Now, humans had something the hunters never wanted to face again. A voice that could start a rebellion. He moved closer. "Whisper, we can tell your people. We can fight back." But Whisper shook her head quickly, eyes wide with fear. "No, we cannot. All escape. The hunters will follow. They always follow. They will wipe out the entire colony if they find us." Ethan felt his heart sink. "So, what do you plan to do?" Whisper stepped back, her footsteps slow and hesitant. She stopped near a wall where the markings formed a circle. "This chamber," she whispered, "is a resonance room." "A what?" "It can send a powerful signal. A message strong enough to reach every hidden colony of my people." Her voice cracked. "But it requires a sacrifice." Ethan felt his stomach twist. "A sacrifice? What kind?" Whisper placed her palm on the glowing circle. To activate the resonance, someone must give their voice, permanently. Ethan felt the blood drain from his face. "Whisper, no." Her hands trembled, but her expression was calm, painfully calm. "My voice is already weak. My people call me Whisper because I cannot speak loudly. I am not strong like the others. I was born broken." She smiled sadly. "So it is better if I give what little I have." Ethan stepped forward instantly. "No, you can't. You'll lose your voice forever." She nodded gently. "Yes, but my people will hear the warning. They will run." The hunters will get only silence, not our lives. Ethan's heart pounded. They'll kill you. Whisper lowered her head. They will eventually kill us all. But at least, this way, many will live. Ethan grabbed her shoulders. No, we'll find another way. Whisper looked up slowly, shy eyes filled with tears she couldn't let fall. There is no other way, she whispered. But you saved me tonight, Ethan said desperately. You saved me when you could have run. Whisper's voice trembled. I saved you because your words saved us first. Ethan shook his head, voice breaking. I won't let you die for me. Whisper gently removed his hands from her shoulders. You don't have a choice, she said softly. This is the only way. And with that, she stepped into the glowing circle, ready to give up the one thing she had left. Her voice. Life. Her people's only hope. Whisper stood inside the glowing circle, the turquoise energy rising slowly around her feet like mist made of light. The chamber walls vibrated softly, responding to her presence. Ethan felt the vibration in his bones. Low, rising, dangerous. Whisper, stop. He shouted, stepping toward her, but she shook her head. Her silver hair floated slightly in the energy field. This is the only way, she whispered. No. Ethan said, his voice shaking with anger and fear. You're not throwing your life away. Whisper looked at him gently. I am not strong like others, she said. My people hide. They need time. If I send the signal now, they can escape before the hunters find them. She looked down at her shaking hands. My voice is small, Ethan, but it can still save someone. Ethan's chest tightened. She really meant to do it. She was willing to give everything. Before he could reach her, the ground shook violently. A loud crack echoed through the chamber. Whisper gasped. The hunters! They found us! Ethan turned sharply. The tunnel behind them glowed with burning red light. A shadow moved inside the path, tall, unnatural, metallic. The hunter's claw scraped against the stone as it forced its way closer. Ethan grabbed Whisper's arm. We're leaving, now. But Whisper pulled her arm away. No. If I leave the circle, the signal will not reach the others. You must go. I'm not going anywhere without you. Ethan snapped. A voice echoed through the tunnel, the cruel, cold voice of a human. Well, isn't this touching? Ethan froze. He knew that voice. Ryan. He whispered. Lieutenant Ryan. Hawley stepped out of the tunnel, his armor lit by the red glow behind him. He smirked at Ethan like he was watching a child misbehave. I warned you, Ethan, Ryan said. The hunters don't tolerate disobedience. And you, he pointed at Ethan with his rifle. You became a problem. Whisper moved in front of Ethan immediately, shaking but determined. You will not take him, she whispered. Ryan laughed. You're barely strong enough to speak. Whisper lowered her head. Ashamed. Ethan stepped beside her, jaw clenched. She's stronger than you'll ever be. Ryan's smile dropped. The hunter behind him screeched, a metallic roar that shook the chamber. It extended its long claws, ready to strike. Ryan's voice hardened. Step away from the creature, Ethan. She's nothing. She has no value except what the hunters can extract from her. Ethan felt rage explode inside his chest. Whisper looked at him nervously. Ethan, don't fight him, please, you will die. Ethan exhaled slowly. No. He stepped forward. For the first time. I'm making the rules. Ryan raised his weapon. Last warning, Ethan. But Ethan didn't stop. He grabbed a metal rod from the ground. A broken piece of old mining equipment. It wasn't a weapon. But it was enough. Ryan fired. Whisper screamed. The energy field around her reacted violently, sending a burst of turquoise light across the room. The blast knocked Ryan's shot off course. The laser scorched the floor, inches away from Ethan's leg. Ethan charged. He swung the metal rod, smashing it into Ryan's arm. Ryan stumbled, dropping his rifle. Ethan kicked it away, breathing hard. Ryan growled and swung at Ethan, hitting him across the jaw. Ethan fell to one knee. Blood touched his lip. Whisper cried out, "No, stop!" Ryan reached for his knife. The hunter screeched and moved closer, claws ready to strike them both. Ethan forced himself up and stood between Whisper and death. "Run, Whisper!" he yelled. "I'll hold them off." Whisper's eyes widened in horror. "No, I can't leave you." Ethan turned and met her gaze, desperate, fierce, sincere. "You saved me. Now let me save you." Whisper trembled, her voice cracking. I don't want you to die." Ethan smiled weakly. "Then don't let my voice be wasted." Whisper felt something shift inside her. Something she never felt before. Courage. Real courage. Her small hands clenched into fists. She turned toward the glowing circle, but something unexpected happened. The chamber responded, not to her voice, but to her heart. The energy surged suddenly. Brighter, stronger, louder. Whisper gasped as the circle's glow rose like a storm. "Ethan," she whispered, "I think I'm not as weak as I thought." And for the first time, her voice didn't shake. The chamber shook like the heart of a storm. The turquoise circle beneath Whisper's feet glowed brighter than ever before, no longer soft or weak, but fierce and alive. The sound rising from it felt like a pulse, a heartbeat, a cry that belonged to an entire species waiting in the dark. Ryan shielded his eyes. What is this?" Even the hunter behind him hesitated, lowering its claws as the energy grew too bright. Whisper stared at her own hands, trembling in disbelief. "They never glowed this strong before. I don't understand." Ethan smiled through the pain on his lip. "I understand." Whisper looked at him. "You were never weak," Ethan said. "You were holding yourself back because you thought you were alone." Whisper felt tears sting her eyes, tears she rarely allowed herself to feel. "But I am alone," she whispered. Ethan shook his head, stepping toward her. "Not anymore." The energy reacted instantly, flaring brighter. The thing circle expanded, no longer just under Whisper's feet, but around both of them. Ryan cursed and stumbled backward. "Stop it!" he yelled. "You don't know what you're doing." Whisper closed her eyes, but this time she wasn't scared. She raised her voice, still soft, but clear. A whisper that carried the strength of a roar. "My people will live, and you will never break our voice again." The chamber exploded with light. A wave of turquoise energy swept through the tunnels, echoing far beyond the resonance room. It traveled through rock, sand, and air, reaching every hidden colony of Whispers. People. Ethan felt the vibration in his chest like a living thing. Whisper gasped. "I can see them. My people. They heard me." Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "You saved them." Before Whisper could respond, Ryan screamed as the hunter behind him suddenly turned its head toward him. It no longer focused on Whisper or Ethan. It focused on him. The traitor. Ethan's eyes widened. "What's happening?" Whisper's voice was shaky but calm. "The hunters hunt anyone who threatens their control. When I sent the signal, I broke their control over him." Ryan backed away, terrified. No, don't, please. I served you. I helped you." The hunter didn't stop. It screeched, raising its claws. Whisper turned her head away, unable to watch. Ethan pulled her close as the chamber filled with metal and screaming, and the sound of betrayal meeting its end. Silence, dead cold silence. Ethan slowly opened his eyes. The hunter and Ryan were both gone, swallowed by the collapsing tunnel beyond. But the ceiling above Whisper and Ethan began to crack. The resonance wave had weakened the chamber structure. Whisper looked at Ethan in panic. "The room is falling." "We must go." Ethan grabbed her hand. "We're leaving, together." The tunnel behind them exploded with dust as they ran. Whisper stumbled, but Ethan held her tight. She wasn't as weak as she believed, but she wasn't built for running on broken ground. Ethan wasn't leaving her behind. The ceiling collapsed behind them as they dove out into an open valley. They rolled across the dirt, breathing hard. Above them, the sky glowed faint blue, the same color as Whisper's eyes. Whisper sat up slowly, clutching her chest. My people. They're running to safety. I can feel them. Her voice trembled. Ethan, we saved them. Ethan smiled softly. No, you saved them. She looked down, blush warming her cheeks. I only whispered. And the whole world heard you. Whisper looked at him, really looked, and for the first time, her shy eyes held no fear, only trust, only gratitude, only quiet strength. Ethan stood and offered his hand. Come on, we need to get you somewhere safe. Whisper hesitated for a moment, then placed her small hand in his. Where will we go? She asked softly. Ethan looked toward the horizon, where distant colonies of her people were already lighting the sky with tiny turquoise signals. Somewhere they can't silence us, he said. Your people need someone who can lead them. Someone who isn't afraid to be heard. Whisper shook her head shyly. I'm not a leader. You are, Ethan said firmly. And if you want, I'll stand with you. The wind blew gently through her silver hair. For the first time in her life, Whisper felt strong. A soft smile touched her lips. Then, let's rebuild our voice. Together. And beside her, a human who refused silence, she took her first step into a new world.